What up, everybody? I'm Dave Miranda, and this is episode 70 of Just Give Me 5. I hope you guys are doing great, continue to be amazing. We got an awesome show lined up for you today. But if you guys caught episode 69, you saw we had none other than the one and only Queen Yanajaha. And let me tell you, that episode was a blessing in itself, man, because for numerous reasons, but her battling lung cancer, you know what I mean? It's like, it's just one of those things where it's like, she was like telling me she's going to be coming into town, and I was like, we got to make this happen, and she was so honored to be on the show. She was like, I've done the Breakfast Club like 5 times, but I was more excited to be on your show. I was like, whoa. Who's got onions? Who's got onions over here, right? But man, just the stories she shared, man, from the BET days and dancing and all the, just the social injustice work that she's done, man. It's really, really remarkable. And she's just a warrior. No other way to put it, man. She's an absolute warrior. So shout out to you, my friend. And make sure you guys watch episode 69. All right. But today's guest is an absolute Arizona hip hop legend. We are going to talk about his early days in music. We're going to talk about the classic Park and Swap days. We're going to talk about MB Ridaz, formerly known as Nasty Boy Click, some memorable moments, and so much more. So ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I present to you MC Magic.
What up, y'all? It's your boy MC Magic, downtown 602 in the building. You already know. All I'm saying is give me 5, baby. Zzz. That's a real frequent question. What inspires you to get into music? And I think music is magic, bro. I think music is magic from when you're a kid to when you're an adolescent to when you fall in love for the first time to when you start going out DJing. So music itself is what pulls people in. Right. I got this saying that goes, everybody loves music, but music doesn't love everybody back.
Amen to that.
You know what I'm saying? And so I was fortunate that music loved me back. Right. So that's why I got into it, because music loved me back. A lot of people think the Park and Swap was where I started, and because they saw me there first, they think I saw you when you started. But actually, I was hustling long before the Park and Swap. When I was in high school, I made a pact with myself that I was going to be a DJ. And so I lied to this girl and said, yeah, I'm a DJ. She said, good, I'll book you for my birthday party. Her name was Shirley. Okay. And so we showed up to Shirley's birthday party, with the living room sound system, with my mom's living room stereo. Right. And I'm like, yo, I only got one turntable. Can I borrow your mom's stereo? Yeah. And that was really the first time that I DJ'd, and it was amazing. After that, I went into, I couldn't afford a Technique 1200. Those were like $500-$600 speakers, living in government housing. I had to build my own speakers. So I built a wooden cabinet and pulled the stereo out of my mom's living room and bam, put it in there. And that was my first turntable. Then I built 2 of them. So I built wooden turntables in the projects, and the Avondale dog patches with the projects where I lived. So I long before the swap meet, I was living in Avondale, hustling DJ, and once I hired a friend named Tim. He was going door to door selling jewelry. Okay. Knocked on my door trying to sell me some jewelry. I said, man, fuck your jewelry. Come on inside, let's talk. Right. I said, you're Timothy from Avondale. He's like, hold up, Magic? La. We got to reunion and stuff. Yeah. And he's like, you still DJ? And I go, man, I DJ every weekend. I said, you should be my DJ helper. And he started helping me. He was carrying crates. Okay. And then one day he came over and I was working on a beat. I remember I had my Sonic EPS set up and I was making a beat. Yeah. And he's like, yo, you just did that right quick? I go, yeah, I just made that beat. He goes, how long it take you? I go, like 15 minutes. And he's like, we could make a lot of money if we go to the swap meet. I'm like, how's that? He goes, everybody want to be a rapper. Right. Let's go to swap meet. You sell beats. He said, $20 a pop, baby. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't know if the rappers are at the swap meet. You know what I'm saying? Right. I said, I'll give it a shot, Tim. Let's go. So we paid like $12 to get a booth at the 27th Avenue swap meet. Okay. That swap meet is now called Ecology Auto Wrecking, or it might be something different. Right. But that's where the first swap meet that I went to. And I set up my system, and I had my speakers going, and we was playing music, and nobody was buying the beat. Nobody was buying the beat. People stopping like, "What are you doing?" I go, "I'm selling beats."
Right.
And nobody was buying beats.
Yeah.
And so one dude came up. He's like, "Yo, I'll take one." I'm like, "All right, how do you want it to sound?" He's like, just make it fresh. So I made a beat right quick, and I go, "How's that sound?" He goes, "Cool." He goes, "You gonna put some raps on it?" I'm like, "What do you want me to say?" He goes, "Man, talk about my girlfriend, Marisa." I'm like, "Okay." So I started to write a song about Marisa. I'm like, this is taking way too long. I'm like, I'm gonna just freestyle it. So I started freestyling about Marisa, and bam, we got a crowd, and everybody wanted one. So that's how my Swap Meet custom songs was born, like that, by accident,
Right.
And so we took that and we hustled that Swap Meet for probably about 6 months. I noticed that we were just getting the same people coming. And I'm like, we need to go to a bigger Swap Meet. So then we shot over to 40th Street, and we was there for years, man. Matter of fact, in the beginning, I was selling them for $10 each, but I was making them too fast. I'm like, I got to raise the price so I could slow down because my voice couldn't handle it. I just kept going over and over and over and over. I had somebody taking orders, and I'd be doing the raps. Put in a blank cassette, record, vámonos. The good thing about that is that it gave me the chops and personalities to really be a real MC, number one. And secondly, it also gave me money. It gave me money to start Nasty Boy Records. So that's really how we got to the Swap Meet. I told you the long version, bro. The question starts with how I formed MB Riders, but the truth is, it was Nasty Boy Click before it was MB Riders. And so the reason I released Nasty Boy Click is because I was working on, if you listen to AZ side, it goes, album number 2, just to clock respect. This time I gotta do it my way. Cruise control with me and Ziggy hit the highway. So anyway, on AZ side, it was album number 2, meaning I already had my freshman album, which was Don't Worry, that had Lost in Love on it. That was my debut album, 95. And so it's going into 1996, and I'm working on a new album, and that's why I called it album number 2. I just happened to be introduced to Zigzag. He was working at Ashley Furniture back then. And Too Swift said, "Man, you got to work with Ziggy, bro. You got to work with Ziggy. He's dope." And so we went to Ashley Furniture, and I gave Ziggy a little cassette of the beat that I just made. I remember for AZ side, I sampled the drum. I sampled the drum from the Funk Phenomenon. Funk Phenomenon. The Funk Phenomenon. So I took that snare and I used that on AZ side. That's the same snare on Funk Phenomenon. And so I took that beat to Ziggy, and he was at work at Ashley Furniture. Me and Swift dropped it off. And so after he got out of work, he told me, "Magic, I already got your hook." And so he came to the studio at my mom's house back then. I used to live on 83rd and Indian School. He came to my mom's house, and my studio was the actual carport at my mom's house. And so he came in there, and then that's when he wrote, "Take a little trip, take a little trip with me." And so that was the one of my first songs for my second album. So when I kept working on music, kept working on songs, and I was working with this kid from North High School that somebody introduced me to. His name was Buki Loke. And me and Buki had done like 2 or 3 songs. We did that Buki's Freestyle. We did one called Temptation. So I had the Buki stuff that I was working with. I had the stuff that I did with Zigzag. And then Dos, who was also a friend of Zigzag's from Glendale, he asked me to help him put together a love song. He's like, "I want something like Lost in Love." And so we did a record called Down for Yours, If You Down for Mine. When I wrote that, and I told him just say Down for Yours. And that's why it's his voice on it, because originally the song was going to be the song that I sold him. That he hired me to produce. And then when I got done, making it, we put the hook on it, got it all done. I go, "What do you want to do with it now?" He goes, "Man, you need to drop a verse on it." I'm like, okay. So I dropped the verse on it. It was still his song that we were working on. And I'm like, on that third verse, I go, "There's a little homeboy that works with me at the Swap Meet." By this time, I had a new worker. It wasn't Tim anymore. I had a new worker at the swap meet. His name was Aaron. Double A Ron.
Yeah.
And so Aaron, I met him when he was 12. And I met him at the swap meet because his mom used to do title transactions at the swap meet. So he would run around looking for work.
Nice, okay.
And so Sly, he came in with, "What you want, Goldilocks? Money can't buy."
Yeah,
He wrote that and I was like, it's a win, you know?
sounded like a Mexican Q-tip.
Yes,
Voice, you know?
yes.
Yeah.
The song was not done. I woke up one morning and I was listening to it going, this is really a good song, but it would be amazing if we could feature Roger Troutman on it.
Yeah, man.
So then I already had a relationship with Lester Troutman, the manager of the group.
Right.
And I called Lester. I go, Les, I want to put Roger on a song. He goes like, oh, he goes, I don't handle that business. You got to talk to Roger directly.
Oh, wow.
And so when I got to talk to Roger, I was blown away that he gave me Roger's number. I was like, damn, you know, me and Roger made a deal, and we got him on the song. And I just so happened to be cultivating a relationship with Don Parker. Don Parker was a programmer at Power 92 at the time.
Okay.
And we were working on another project. And I told Don, I go, hey man, I got this record that I've been working on. He goes, hey, I didn't know you did music too, because I was a promoter in his eyes. I was working on a concert.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, I do music too. And when I played it for him, he goes, it kind of sounds like Zapp and Roger a little bit. And I was like, yeah, that's because that's Roger from Zapp, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
And so Don says, I'll give it a try. I'll put it on. And so Don decided to put it on. And when he did put it on, the explosion happened like literally overnight. He called me. We met like at 1 o'clock. He called me at 7 p.m. He says, Magic, I think you got one, man.
Yeah.
He goes, since we played that record, every phone call has been to a request for that record. He goes, I think you got one.
Yeah.
And so that was the magic of it. Now, before we released that single, because it was a single before it was an album,
Yeah.
I decided to call the album, the compilation, I decided to call it Nasty Boy Click. We weren't out a group yet. I was working with Dawes, cultivating a record. I was working with Zigzag. I was working with Buki Loke. I was working with Aaron. And I was working with my homie L-Dog too. He was helping me do some writing and stuff.
Okay.
And I'm like, I should just make a compilation. Instead of my second album, I should just make it a compilation.
Right.
And because my label is called Nasty Boy Records, I'd be like, it'd be the click that works with Nasty Boy Records. So I called it Nasty Boy Click.
Nice.
That's why real faintly on the album it says MC Magic presents Nasty Boy Click.
Right.
But people's like, who is Nasty Boy Click?
Yeah.
And it exploded from there, you know? And so we were just automatically a group.
You guys
and-
were the first, I want to say, the first group out here to be on MTV, because Down for Yours was on MTV.
Yeah, Down for Yours did get on MTV. It went to the number 10 in the nation, top 10 Billboard on the rap charts.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, it was good. It was good for us, man. We were like the first rap group ever in Arizona to be on the front page of the Arizona Republic, you know?
Yeah.
So we were on, they call it A1. We were on A1 of the Arizona Republic. It was a big deal, man. And so it was just, we were new to it. It was new success, real fast, real quick. And we broke up real quick too. As soon as the major label didn't renew our album deal, I was like, there's no reason to stay together. I'm going to go back to being MC Magic.
Right.
But then another small company from San Jose, California, called Upstairs Records,
Yeah.
they had heard Lost in Love from my old album.
Right.
They had heard Lost in Love, and they're like, yo, this Nasty Boy Click record, Lost in Love. I go, no, that's an MC Magic record.
Yeah.
And he's like, we want to release it, but we want to call it Nasty Boy Click. Because, you know, you guys had that Down for Yours already, so it makes sense. I'm like, all right, let me talk to the guys. We had already broke up.
Yeah.
Let me talk to the guys and see if they're down. And because there was a little bit of money attached, they decided to come work with me again.
Okay.
And so we had a one album run as Nasty Boy Click with the new label with Upstairs Records.
Yeah.
And I just wasn't happy. I asked John, I go, John, you know, I'm doing all the work and everybody's making out except me, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I wrote these songs, they come right out of my oven, my house, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I just wasn't happy. I wanted to go back to, you know, doing what I do, because when you work with another label, they try to really, you know, control you.
Of course. Yeah.
So I left. He gave me the release. He's like, yeah, Magic, you can leave. He goes, but I own the name. He goes, I own Nasty Boy Click. I'm like, keep the fucking name. I don't care.
Right.
So I left, And of course, he's in San Jose. All the guys are still here.
Yeah.
You know, Zig and Dos. And so I was real careful when I worked with Zig. I pay him and made him sign releases that he did a verse for me, because I was working on another project. In my mind, I said, I'm gonna convert it from MBK to MB Riders.
Okay.
And so as soon as we released MB Riders' first single, that was called Runaway. We could run away and spend some time. Upstairs heard about it, and John called me. He's like, Magic, what's this record, Runaway, man? Everybody's talking about it. Yeah. All these, like the radio stations were playing it. It's hard for people now to imagine no internet.
I know.
You know, but we were doing this with no internet. And so all the relationships that we had built at radio, we were bringing the records to them. Nice. And people were like, oh yeah, this is fire. Bam, new MB Riders. And so John's like, Magic, come on, man. Bring MB Riders back to the label. He goes, I'll make a deal with you. La 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 la. What do you want? What do you want? And I'm like, John, you gotta take care of us this time. You know, you gotta take care of us. The money's gotta be right. And so we made a deal. We made a good deal, and we came back. And so that's really the whole MB Riders story. And then we did 2 albums as MB Riders. So the whole MB thing is 2 Nasty Boy Click albums and 2 MB Rider albums. And after the 2 MB Rider albums is when I decided, okay, I've had enough, because I was doing everything, and I was getting pulled in so many directions. I was getting pulled in so many directions as the producer, the manager, the creator, the writer, the recorder, the engineer. It was exhausting for me. And everybody wanted an equal cut. I'm like, I'm doing 90% of the work and everybody wants an equal cut. It was just too exhausting. I said, I'm just gonna go back to being MC Magic, you know? And that's what happened. You know? But all the hits, I guarantee you I wrote them. I wrote all the hits, whether it's Down for Yours, If You Down for Mine, whether it's Take a Little Trip of Zigzag, whether it's Something About You, Baby, You Look So Fly. Those are all my hits, brother.
This episode is sponsored by Immaculate Pools. Immaculate Pools provides high-quality pool maintenance and equipment repairs at competitive prices. Weekly full-service pool cleaning starting at just $125 a month and includes all chemicals. All of their techs are knowledgeable, reliable, and have at least 15 years of experience in the field and are certified pool operators. So let the professionals handle the hard work so you can relax this summer. God knows we all need it, right? They're located in Gilbert and they service in the East Valley. So go ahead and give them a call at 480-527-9679 or go to www.immaculatepoolsaz.com.
Three memorable moments of my career. Yeah. You know, the other day I was talking to somebody and I was telling them, man, people always ask me, what's the craziest moment that you've had in your career? And there's been so many things that I can't focus on one, but I thought about one last time. Okay. Way before Nasty Boy Click, MC Magic was hustling. I was performing at the Arizona at the Mesa Super Show. I would do little lowrider shows. I would do stuff with Eddie Villa's dad, Chris Villa's dad, Eddie Villa. Yeah. Me and Eddie, man, I would DJ here at this place. I would DJ the swimming pools. I was doing community centers. I was doing all kind of stuff, and I was invited to open up a show for Young MC. Nice. Young MC was doing a high school tour, and it was at a high school called Barry Goldwater High School.
What year was this?
I can't remember.
Okay.
It had to be after 1990 because that's when I wrote Lost in Love, and I had Lost in Love. Okay. Because that's the one that was giving me all the gigs.
Right.
And so they put me on the Young MC as an opening act at the high school tour. Yeah. So we're in the high school gymnasium on stage. It's packed in there, man. Yeah. And I had learned how to make explosions myself. Okay. Like I would make a little deal that my nephew would just hit the deal, and the gunpowder, which was actually flash powder. Okay. Gunpowder, it would make a spark and pow! It would blow it. Man, I had these explosions that would just scare the crap out of people. Right. I mean, now it's real common to see explosions at a concert. They even got the smoke that goes with it. But I was doing that in 1990 by myself, on my own, right?
Yeah.
And so that day, my flash pot was too close to the curtain, and the curtain caught fire.
Wow.
So the stage curtain caught fire, and the alarm went off, and the sprinklers came on, and the whole thing was, the whole school was evacuated.
It's a disaster.
It was, Young MC didn't get to perform that day. And the fire department came out and they interrogated me. They're like, yo, who made these explosive devices? I'm like, I did.
Right.
Who are you? I'm like, I'm a rapper.
Yeah.
And I'm just trying to, make my stage show look good.
Right.
And he's like, you got to be a licensed pyrotechnician to do this kind of stuff. You can't be just, and so that was that's a memorable moment, man, when I ruined Young MC's high school tour at Barry Goldwater High School. That was funny. Another memorable moment was, I gave you the story about NBK to NB Riders, and I knew that when I came back to being MC Magic after the whole NB Riders stuff and Nasty Boy clicked to NB Riders, I had to really come with something incredible, and I wrote this song called "Sexy Lady."
Yeah.
And really, "Sexy Lady" was gonna be an NB Riders record. Matter of fact, Zig even did a verse on it, but I ended up taking him off because we broke up. The group broke up, and so I did the second verse myself. It's only got 2 verses, "Sexy Lady." And that song was catching fire, and they booked me at the Lowrider Super Show over at the Coliseum.
Okay.
And I'm like, I gotta hit these people hard. This is my hometown.
Sure.
I don't have NB Riders, it's just me.
Yeah.
And I thought I gotta do a stage intro that's really amazing. And that's the first time that I took the stage playing Vicente Fernandez and holding my 2 flags, the Mexican and the American flag.
Yeah, man.
That's the first time that I did it.
That's when it
Man, it was such an emotional impact that day that I cried on stage, I held it back, but I was like, this is amazing.
Right.
What I wanted to do was capture my people, make them feel proud, and accept me for MC Magic once again.
Yeah.
And it did. And to this day, that's still my stage intro, bro. To this day. I did that in 2006, and it's still my stage intro. That was 15, 16 years ago, bro. And it's still an amazing intro. When I do it at Art LeBeau concerts, they allow me to come in through the crowd. So someone carries me on their shoulders, and I walk into the. You could catch footage on the internet about me taking the stage, and it's just so powerful, man. Because we had like 18 to 20,000 people at an Art LeBeau concert, and it's all raza. It's all our people.
Yeah.
And I go to the stage, playing that Vicente Fernandez and my intro. It's all mixed together, and it's so powerful. But that was another real memorable moment for me, Another memorable moment was when I dropped "Down for Yours."
Okay.
And I remember I told you that Don Parker was the one that played it first on Power 92. Well, Don said, "Magic, Universal Records wants to meet with you. Doug Morris has invited you to New York City to sit down and discuss a deal."
Nice.
And I'm like, all right, well, let's go. And by the time I got to New York City, every record company had called me. How they got my cell number, I have no idea. I mean, Atlantic, Capitol had called me, Universal, SBK Records. There was so many record companies back then.
Right.
And then this guy named Daniel Glass from Mercury Records also called me as well. So what Daniel Glass told me, he says, "Magic, after you meet with Doug Morris," he goes, "please take a meeting with me." He says, "Do me a favor, don't sign with Doug, because whatever he offers you, I can match it." And I'm like, okay. If I'd have known then what I know now, things would be way different. But I was just naive in the record business. And that day when I sat in a meeting with Doug Morris, Doug was like pulling all the stops so I could sign. And it really felt like a gangster movie, because he was like, "Hey, Magic, I see you captured lightning in a bottle."
Yeah.
And I'm like, Daniel Glass told me he was going to say that, lightning in a bottle.
Yeah.
He says, "What is it going to take for you to sign today?" And I had a number in my mind. When I got on that plane, I said, I'm not going to sign a deal with Universal for less than $100,000. That was like naive. Like $100,000 ain't nothing. But that's how we come from the swap meet. $10 a pop, $20 a pop. I thought $100,000 was a lot.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
So that day, sitting with Doug Morris at Universal Records, probably 50th floor in downtown Skyscraper, New York.
Yeah.
And he's like, what is it going to take for you to sign today, Magic? He wanted me to sign the contract that day.
Yeah.
And so I told him, I was like, you know, Doug, in the heat of the moment, my mind went, you got to double your bag. And I was like, I won't sign for less than 200 grand. He goes, you got that. That's no problem. Can I have him bring the contract in?
Wow.
And I was like, shh, I just shot myself in the foot. Right. So I told Doug, I'm like, Doug, we could do the deal, but I can't sign it until my lawyer sees it.
There you go.
You know, and he's like, we're going to do it today, Magic. How about if I just give you 300? Come on, bring in the contract. Right. So now we're at 300, right?
Yeah, it's going to keep going. Yeah.
So now we're at 300, and I'm thinking to myself, this is crazy. I could pretty much ask this guy for anything at this point. He goes,
I know, right?
He goes, I tell you what, you signed today, I'm going to throw in an extra 50 just as a bonus for you. right. And I'm like, okay, this is crazy. Yeah. So my mind is thinking, and let me rewind to when we first walked in. It was me, my wife, my best man, Barry, and his wife, who live in New York. Okay. So it's all family. It's all four of us. Yeah. But at Universal Records, they only allowed me to go into his office. I'm like, yo, but this is my wife and my best man. They go, Mr. Morris will only see you, Magic. Oh, wow. So I had already come in with like, this is kind of shady, you know? Red flag. Yeah. It's kind of shady. And so in the heat of the moment, Doug's phone rang, and he picked it up and goes, yeah, Magic's right here. He's like, Magic, it's for you. Now, before I tell you who that was on the phone, yeah, I got to tell you, there's one person in Phoenix radio, that's always hated MC Magic. His name is Super Snake. Oh, wow. He's always hated me. Back when I used to call the radio station, yo, Snake, man, give me a shot, put my song on. He would say like, fuck you, Magic, quit calling. Like wow. That. He would do me like that. Wow. God bless Super Snake. I ain't mad at him. But that day, see, the record companies knew that the hottest DJ in Arizona was Super Snake. Right. You know, Super Snake. And so he got on the phone, and I'm like, yo, this is Magic. And he got on the phone. He said, don't be an idiot. You better sign that contract today. I'm like, I looked at the phone like, Super Snake? Oh, wow. I'm like, Super Snake? And so that was the deal breaker for me. That was a deal breaker. Once Doug did that, I'm like, I'm not going to get bullied today. And so I didn't sign with Universal Records that day. You know, I walked out of there, and I told Daniel, I go, they offered this, and this. And Daniel said, don't worry, I'll give you all that. And I was able to get that anyway. You know, and so that's what we did. That's another memorable moment. There's 3 of them right there. How does it feel to know I'm special and extremely loved? You know, I've always been an underdog. I've always been an underdog. Whether I'm pulling up to a fair, because there was a season when I had to go work fairs, like the fair circuit, like a carny. Yeah. You know, I had to go hustle for a booth. Man, I want this booth. No, you're this. Right. So I've always been the underdog, even in the group. Like all the guys were younger than me, so they would all throw shit on me because you're the old nigga. Nobody wants to hang with you, you know? Yeah. And so I never felt like I was special. I know you say, how does it feel to be special? Right. And my attitude is gratitude. I like to make my fans feel special because they're the ones that have carried me all these years. You know what I'm saying? Right. And so it's hard to say I'm special and I feel special because I don't feel that way. I feel that God gives us all 24 hours every day. I feel that God gives us all the sun, eyeballs, 2 hands, and a working agile mind. If we ruin our mind, if we ruin our hands, if we ruin our body, then we can't do what we're supposed to do. But that's still our responsibility. So I don't feel I'm special. I just feel I work extra hard. And I hate to just come at you like that, but that's really how I feel. I'm not entitled to nothing, not even a fan. Not you know, when people ask me for an autograph or a picture, whatever, those are all gifts given to me, and I'm appreciative. Attitude of gratitude is what my feeling is, you know? First of all, thanks for Just Give Me 5 for having me on the podcast today. Much love to you guys, and love to everybody. More than anybody, to the good Lord up above for holding me down, for blessing me, for always throwing good things at me. And I like to just invite you guys to my website because Even though I've been in the business for so long, I still have a lot of great, exciting things that we're working on. Ever since I started my makeup line, naming my makeup palettes after my songs, Lost in Love, Pretty Girl, Sexy Lady, So Fly. Those makeup palettes have been a big hit with my fans, and I've got more amazing things coming, as well as the new artists that I've signed to my label, like J-Rocks, Los Terricolas. And so MC Magic's still got a whole lot of ways to go. I've been in it for a long time, but I feel like every day is a new beginning. So y'all come to the new beginning, nastyboyrecords.com.
And there you have it. Man, nothing but love and respect to my man MC Magic. You know what I'm saying? That's a real good brother right there, man. You know, real good dude, you know, and he has done just so much in the scene, in the community for so many years. I mean, I remember being a kid, you know, my grandmother and my grandfather used to have a setup, you know, over at a booth, you know, over at Park and Swap. And my nana used to sell Guess. This was in the 90s when Guess was like popping, you know what I mean? And she used to sell Guess, and my tata would sell mattresses. And, you know, I used to just kind of be out there with my cousin, and we'd be out there helping them. And I would just kind of venture off, you know, because I wanted to go check out MC Magic. And the little monkey. Don't forget the little monkey, man. You give him a quarter or a dime, and he'd tip his hat for you, and he was awesome. But I would always dip out, man, and go and check out Magic. So that's somebody that's been, you know, very inspirational for so many years for myself, you know, in the community out here. So this was really a treat to have him on the show. Make sure you guys are following him on social media. Shout out to my brother Jimmy Nelson on the camera. Make sure you guys subscribe to the YouTube channel. All right. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this as much as I did. This was definitely taking me a trip down memory lane. And till next time, stay tuned, stay blessed, stay healthy, and just give me 5, y'all.
Everything you get, you got